if we're looking at potential achieved in Merc.
Oh, absolutely.
Those are my two,
Lolo's still holding his own, but yeah, achieved in Merc.
Yeah, those are the ones to think about. But where are we going to play this match? That'll be Kafe. So that'll be the new map, so to speak. It's actually technically a very old map, but it's reworks. They make them new.
You remember playing that one?
I do remember playing that one. It was actually the first map I ever played in Pro League.
So it was a good one.
We lost.
That was the one where the K9 clutch, though.
Yes, it was the K9 clutch, but guess who we lost to?
Who was that?
Clever.
Oh.
That was fun. Anyway. So that was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Here now, who do you think is going to win this match?
This will be interesting. Oh, the Bolo fans out there, and also Rogue's
represent.
Not great showing lately. I can kind of understand that. Maybe a little bit weighted to TSM's side, a little too heavy, but
I mean, it's an interesting one, that's for sure. But at the same time, sure.
Sure, why not, right?
Whatever you think.
At this point,
it could be. Because let's break it down real. Let's be honest for a second here. TSM has, they have a lot of talent on that roster. Like, no matter how you shake it up, there's skill there.
Yeah.
There's potential to turn that into something that is, potentially a team that could take down Rogue. Rogue has a lot more experience, and that's just a flat-out fact. There's a lot of experience on the Rogue roster. There's a lot of, they're veterans. They've been around for pretty much for most of them since the beginning.
Yeah.
And given that, they should have the edge. However, there's something to be said about motivation. There's something to be said about pressure. And TSM, they've got to be hungry right now.
Yeah.
I mean, look at that. They're under the name of TSM. They've got all these new players, relatively new players, and then one
especially
actually
Bolo, brand new.
He's brand new.
Yeah.
So they've got to be hungry. They've got to be looking for it. So, hey, man, if that's what you think, I can't really, I can't judge it until we see what's actually happening in the match. We'll see how these teams play against each other.
Here's what's interesting to me about TSM, though. So they have a little bit weaker spots on their roster in terms of Bio and Crusher. There are support players most of the time, so it's not a big deal. But the performance we saw out of them on USN last night when they had Crazy playing instead of Crusher because Crusher being a Canadian citizen couldn't.
Yeah.
They were playing pretty strong, and they managed to win all the way through. I mean, it was best of ones and things like that. It wasn't... best ones just like this. It wasn't some huge tournament or anything, but they still showed that they have some strength. But it makes me wonder, maybe they need to shake up the roster a little bit for some of those looser parts. But we'll see how they perform today.
I would hasten to disagree because when you've got these newer teams, for me the thing that always takes the most time and the most effort is building up your synergy with what you have. And it's the more roster changes that you make, the more likely that team is to fall apart, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
If they've got no problems with then we can't know because we can't tell what's going on internally. But if they've got no problems with their roster as it stands, then every single time they make a roster change, whether they perceive it to be an upgrade or not, is going to put them 2 steps back. And when they're already starting late in the game, they really don't have that luxury. So I don't know. I think they should stick with what they've got and see if it works, as long as there's no internal issues.
I just mean in terms of speculating on whether or not there could be improvements there.
Maybe.
Could be made.
I mean, long term, right? Like you figure, let's say they finish top 4 this season, right? You figure they're going to be sitting pretty comfortable. Maybe that's the point where they start to make some changes to try and bump things up. But
last season they made a change right at the beginning.
Yeah, and that's true. And I think that's a bad idea.
It was, yeah. They had a shaky start.
Yeah, I mean, they made a change at the beginning of this season, too, technically speaking. No matter how you look at it, even if it's bringing on, a lot of talent, it is still one of those types of changes that you're going to have to work overtime to overcome in the long run. And in the short run as well, just in the context of this season, it can be a problem.
Yeah, absolutely. And you always worry about, too, the new org curse sort of thing that happens to a lot of teams where they get a new org, new support, and then all of a sudden, I think some of it's the expectations all of a sudden on them.
There's a lot. If you've been around the North American Rainbow Six Pro scene, you've seen that happen before, and you know what we're talking about. But for those of you who haven't, it's a shame.
Yeah. Well, I hope we don't see it because we have 2 new big orgs with both TSM and Luminosity coming in at the beginning of the season. So.
Well, I mean, Luminosity's already doing really well right this second. I mean, they're sitting atop the standings. So if we're going to speculate on that one, they're at least sitting comfortable for now. But as you talked about, the whole Noble thing, you could start the season early, doing real great, 3 wins in a row, everything's peachy keen, and then suddenly it all starts falling apart.
Also, the second half of the season, you have new ops too.
That is true.
So you have the major in between, and then you have new ops.
Yeah.
Which, assuming we get those in, there's never a guarantee. It's more of a 3-month trial period to kind of see if that's the right amount of time, and they could always decide to postpone it. But Warden and Nox seem fine, so chances are we might see them. But I don't know if those are going to be big heavy hitters in terms of changing the game too much, especially with Ying not really being viable anymore. So.
I mean, Ying actually It's interesting you should say that because I was recently watching something from Macy where he was doing some Ying stuff, and I was like, wow, that's actually really interesting. There's potential there.
Oh.
Thanks, Macy.
Yeah.
But yeah. She hasn't been played a whole lot, so maybe that won't be too relevant here in this match. As we load into Kafe, thank you so much for your patience, ladies and gentlemen. We finally have it ready for you. Now, this is going to be a really interesting match. A lot of new talent coming into Rainbow Six Pro League. And hi, how's it going? My name's Kickstar. This is Devin Emzo Becker, and we actually have the map. Look, there it is. We'll start the bands off here with Rogue on defense.
Capital ban, something we've seen a fair amount of here. Especially, let's see, we've got at least 4 or 5 times here in this region that has been banned so far. So definitely something that a lot of teams wanting to ban. Rogue actually having banned it before. No Jackal tracking as well. Of course, generally if you ban Jackal, that means you're going to be roaming. Otherwise, there's not a whole lot of point in banning it. So I got to imagine TSM going to be playing potentially a bit fast and loose with the roam. On this map itself can be a little harder in some ways to roam on just because you've got just 2 stairwells to deal with. I mean, if you don't count brown stairs, which is just the 1-floor stairs. But at the same time,
stairs?
Yeah, it's just, you have to kind of play a little bit in terms of visibility and whether or not they can see those other stairs because there's not always lines of sight to, say, white stairs, for example.
Echo, the last ban here. So Capital, Jackal, Mira, and Echo, very standard stuff.
Yeah.
Nothing at all out of the ordinary.
The Jackal, I think, being maybe the least common of those bans, but certainly not something that's out of the ordinary.
I mean, so good. He's so good. It may be uncommon, but it's a really, really great.
He hasn't even been changed all that much, but when they buffed his range and people started kind of finding a bit more use for him, it seems like it's been important, especially with how much intel has been on the side of the defenders. Having a way to counter some of that intel, I think, is always important. That's why you see IQ played a lot as well. It's just the more you can do to kind of do something against all that counter intel, besides just banning Echo, of course, the better you can do. I guess both the defender bans are intel-based ones, but we are going to start out top floor, which is certainly the standard at the moment, and transitioning over from old Kafe as well. But at the same time, some teams will play Bakery. But I don't know about you kids, but I don't feel like Bakery has really been all that successful for a lot of teams. I mean, it's been a mixed bag, but at the same time, it seems like teams spent a lot of time practicing their pushes on it before the season started and seem pretty well prepared for it.
To me, it depends on who you're going up against and how they're going to handle things on attack, because there's a lot to work with if you're an attacker on Bakery. The main thing with Bakery, the biggest downside, of course, is going to be that soft destruction and how relevant it is, because it's a very anchor-heavy site.
Yeah.
You do need to have some off-site presence, but there's a lot of ways the attackers can isolate those off-site players and prevent them from actually influencing the round using like one angle.
Yeah.
And if you do that efficiently enough as an attacking team, then you use your soft destruction from above, yeah, it can be crippling to a defense, and the anchor specifically can get picked apart pretty easily. There are some spots inside a Bakery defense, or kitchen rather specifically, where you don't have soft destruction above, but it's limited, and those spots can usually easily be naded by a Buck or a Sledge, whoever happens to be above you. That's probably one of the reasons why TSM banned Jackal. If they want to play Bakery later on, then they need to be able to roam above, at least for a little bit.
Ooh,
Eclipse, gonna lose the C4 there. Achieve will take half of his HP right off there. That's a good job there from Eclipse. At least do some damage, but it's not going to secure a kill.
Still a higher chance, though, that they finish him off before he can use both of those frag grenades, and that's at least a good start there. Not to mention his weapon's pretty decent as well. And that's going to help slow them down so Vertical can stay inside Christmas a little bit longer. But obviously, they're going to be pushing that soon as Thermite opens this wall here. They're just looking for any kind of push coming from Cigar. They're not really going to bother with the new hatch drop. Vertical, though, actually going to peek it and rotate out with some coverage from Legion.
So surprising that Vertical was able to make it out of that scot-free. He probably should have been punished right after the wall was opened up, but not the case. TSM a little bit slow on the draw here.
Yeah, it's definitely the case where they're focused on their setup for this push more than peeking anything. Definitely not. I mean, obviously, too, if you've got already one of your players on low health, you don't want to over-peek things.
Yeah. I mean, certainly, there's something to be said about caution if you're TSM. At the same time, though, this is one of those sites where you do need to secure some early picks. Otherwise, you're going to have a seriously rough time going in for the site take. And Rogue is aware of that. That's why they haven't really been playing very aggressively. This shield has become commonplace in competitive. If you've been playing enough Kafe, you've probably noticed it. It allows you a lot of pixel angles. Pixel angle onto the cigar doorway, as well as one onto the skylight. It's a very powerful one to use as a defender. It allows for pre-fires from the attack, though. What a rush from Vertical, and he's actually going to get one. There goes Crusher, and Vertical's just going to stay in cigar, wait for more potential kills. There's another one. As he walks into it, Achieved will go down. Merc finally secures that frag, and Biologic able to eliminate Slash, so it's an even exchange here. But still, the aggression working out a little bit there for Rogue. Slash going down in sight, definitely not an ideal result. It seemed like he was trying to rotate over towards the main bar, and he was punished for it. Unfortunate if you're a Rogue fan. But look at that, only 25 seconds on the clock here for TSM to make the execution happen. They don't have a whole lot going for them, despite having an even man count. Not a lot of sight control here. Waiting for their opportunity. The push and freezer will be slowed down thanks to those lifelines being caught by the ADS. Bolo's not going to get the angle there onto the Pulse. Easily, though, a knife kill onto Biologic, and a nice shot there from Bolo before being shut down by Easily. That's 2 for him on this 3 versus 3, leaving just Merc, the man himself, in a 1 versus 2. He's not able to get any at all. The first flick going to miss, and the second one as well. And there you go. You'll have Rogue taking round number 1 on a top floor defense.
And that's the big struggle with attacking the top floor and why it's prevalent bombs, the primary bomb site for a lot of teams, is that shield you mentioned, for example. The way they're able to set up on the cocktail balcony side, the way that map changed to be able to do that a lot more effectively has really made a difference. You remember the old Kafe, they used to kind of have to play on the A side and just kind of peek over to try and get positions where they could kind of fight over the bar, but it was always a little bit tricky to win those fights or to guarantee you were able to do so. A lot of times they were like, ACOG operators, like even Echo playing over there, for example. But now that you're able to play a little more straight line towards cigar door and cover as well, them trying to rush over for plants, as well as opening up some of the bar. You saw the little mini bar sort of thing being shotgunned open so people couldn't plant behind it. So that coverage now, they were just walking into angles that Rogue controls, and the only kills they really were able to get prior to their push were ones that Rogue fed them, basically, when they tried to push them.
I'm glad that you brought up those little small bars that are, kind of littered all over the top floor, and their soft destruction. It's a lot easier to open them up now.
Yeah, it's nice.
And being able to open them up as a defender, with one shotgun blast, that allows you to much more easily hold that top floor. Yeah. It's a pretty small thing, but it scales heavily on a defense like this. So Rogue will be holding the top floor in a reading defense. So that's not terribly surprising. Just going to have some roamer presence. Again, soft destruction, very relevant on this map as long as you're not defending the top floor. So if you have some roamers upstairs, you can, if nothing else, slow down the attack. And that is what the goal will be here for Rogue.
Eclipse is going to be very important in this, of course, because playing the Pulse, it's not just about those C4s. It's calling out for your roamers upstairs where everyone's at, right? You're hanging out in that middle floor, trying to stay safe. You can see Eclipse doing that right now. Just his job is to call out everyone. Here's where they're positioned. Here's where they're coming from. And then those roamers have the intel they need to be able to continue to try and hold that top floor, because there's only so many angles of approach in. You've got the cigar entry, pretty much, and then you've got coming in from the white stairs, white hallway side for the most part. I mean, yes, there you could potentially rotate through freezer and things like that. But as long as he can call out the entry points and give some intel to the defenders, then they're going to be better able to stay upstairs as long as possible, which will help hold that. Which it's interesting, though, to see the reading room one, despite sharing a bomb site, become the primary over the... There we go. Bolo! Taking out the top fragger.
It happens. It happens.
But that's Merc down, not to mention his utility lost. And that could cost them the round right there, unfortunately, not to mention he also himself at low health. And Eclipse finishing the job. So
that's unfortunate. It does happen, though. You shouldn't hold it against Bolo necessarily. An unfortunate set of circumstances there for TSM. Some miscommunication, I think, is the real culprit to that one. Not necessarily Merc's fault, not necessarily Bolo's fault. Just miscommunication, misunderstanding of who's playing what angle.
Also reactionary, right? They're both just trying to react to something that's happening.
Right. And this is born of, again, this is born of an inexperienced team, and said team is going to continue to lose men as they attempt to clear out the top floor roamers. It's not even a defense of the top floor right now, and Rogue are, really easily holding TSM at bay right this second. Vertical going to go for an aggressive play. He's been doing this the whole time, and it's going to pay off. Oh, once more. That's Biologic on low HP and a downed enemy, and Slash will get the final kill there. Another team kill for TSM. That's 2 in 1 round. And truly unfortunate for them and their fans.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely looking pretty good so far, at least for defense for Rogue. I mean, the question, of course, will be what happen when they get to the attack side.
Now, that's relevant, very relevant, because Kafe, of course, being a new map, is going to be defender-sided. That's just if you're not familiar with CG Sports, if you're not familiar with how this usually plays out, when a new map comes out, even if it's just a rework, it will, by default, be defender-sided, and that is because it takes a lot more time to orchestrate, to figure out how you're going to attack something as compared to how you're going to defend it.
Yeah, luckily this isn't the newest map in the sense like they only changed certain things about it, but it's the new angles that will work in the defender's favor, right? Because they have new angles that they can play, like the one I was talking about upstairs on the cigar balcony
or that
area.
Shield angle.
Exactly. So there's lots of things, like you said, very defender-sided at first, and that's going to be something that is going to be worked out over time.
Yeah, it'll subside. It just takes effort, and like you said, time. Time is the real big factor here. So, the fact that Rogue's starting on defense here on Kafe is going to give them a little bit of an edge.
Yeah. But of course, they switch sides guaranteed because you can't win just on your defensive side. So
right. Now the thing about that is, again, the less experienced team, and it's important that I note this because it's very, very important. A lot of people are going to be like, well, what are you talking about? TSM's not inexperienced. Relatively speaking.
Yeah, I mean, there's still only so many holdovers from the last season.
Of course, yeah, and it's very important again because okay, some early lost HP from. All right, I don't know what Rogue gave to Vertical, but they clearly told him, "Hey, man, just take all the fights all the time.
Just slow him the hell down."
That's what he's doing, though. He's taking every fight that he can get his hands on, and he's saying, "Thank you very much. This is working out just fine."
Maybe they're mad after I called them so passive on Monday, and I was kind of mocking. I was mocking them a lot. I gotta admit,
really,
for being super passive. I mean, and just losing their fights. So
they did have a bad run there.
Yeah, that was their loss. So yeah,
Dark Zero.
So I guess they told Vertical take care of that, but Bolo said, "Okay, well, I'll just fight that back. I know what you're trying to do."
Yeah, and Bolo's going to win that one out by Bakery. An early kill there for TSM, and this is the first time that they looked to be in a decent position to win a round, getting that early kill, and within the first minute, no less. They have lost a lot of HP, though, and that is definitely going to be a huge factor. Though Slash Hug gives his life away to Biologic on that upside-down rappel outside of that Bakery door.
Good old upside-down rappels. Eclipse, though, looking to actually retake.
Brand new.
He's looking for a retake of this area that they just lost losing Vertical, but the drone there actually scaring him away. This Bakery side, definitely we were talking about earlier, being a bit more of a struggle for teams, but Rogue still managing to fight back. However, the fact that they only did damage so far and actually lost 2 people in the process shows why this is their 3rd bomb site. It is definitely a much more difficult one to hold, and they're definitely paying the price for it. But not a lot of top-down control, which surprises me. We saw a lot of top-down attacks on this previously, taking advantage of the destructible floor, but this horizontal attack working out okay despite Shuttle getting that kill.
Achieved had his hammer out there, and Eclipse is going to cover Shuttle after he got the initial kill. So that's going to be 2 for Rogue, and a nice hold there on the triple wall. A push there from Merc's going to just secure the kill onto Shuttle, though, so he finally is felled in that exposed position. If he just Eclipse and easily in the red hall will be eliminated by Bolo, and Eclipse trying to retake that red hall. Looks like he's been droned out. By the player on the red stairs. It's going to be Biologic. Low HP, though, and an easy kill. That's actually... No, not Diffuser down. I was mistaken. Oh, we're going to need more kills here for Eclipse if he wants to win this round. The Diffuser going down. Merc's actually going to secure that. So that's now 2 barrels against 1, and Merc will win it. A nice round there from Merc individually. And the first round for TSM in this match.
Now, of course, that being not the best bomb site for Rogue, they're not going to repeat it. It was just they had to play a 3rd bomb site. That's the one they chose to play. It is surprises me a little bit with the lack of success sometimes of that kitchen that more teams don't go for the old mining dining. Because like I said, it shares 1 bomb site already with reading. So you're already defending dining for either of those bomb sites. And most teams know how to defend mining dining fairly well from previous seasons.
Yeah, and it is worth noting that you can defend mining dining the way that comes off.
I love it.
It's worth noting that because it is as well a 2nd floor site, same as Reading Room, you can defend it from upstairs. Like, you could just do the upstairs roam one more time. And the way that Rogue has been repelling TSM on that upstairs hold, why not? We just defend upstairs every round. You can just defend upstairs on Kafe and actually repel the...
It's a very top-down map.
Like, it is certainly a top-down map. But I mean, of course, it's going to leave you a little exposed on the site. You have to, adjust accordingly. You have to have appropriate measures in place to repel a rush strategy, for example, if that's something the attackers decide to do. But yeah, you could theoretically only defend from, 3 people on the top floor and then 2 people in sight for 2 rounds, and then everyone upstairs. Or maybe like if you want to do C4 at the same exact split. So you could do, every round 3-2, top floor, bottom, or middle floor. That's definitely viable.
Something interesting, too, I wanted to note is there's been almost no operator change-ups on both these teams throughout all of these rounds. I think there's been some change-ups on who's playing what, but overall it's been very little changes. Both teams just trying to win their fights and win their pushes, not really focused so much on we need to adapt our utility to counter-strat each other, things like that. We're not seeing Bolo, for example, identifying the pulse too often and using that information. Obviously, you're not going to shoot through that floor. But, you have the pulse doing a lot of work to try and call out.
Is that vertical? Is that vertical? Yeah, it's vertical.
Of course, he's opening his presence early up there.
He has to take all the fights, man. That's the rule.
It's working, though.
Rogue was like, vertical, listen, man, if you want the first death and first kill of every round, we're going to have words.
He's getting the old okay, the opening kills. Although he wasn't able to pull off the kill on the bio last round, and that did unfortunately hurt them a little bit. But
yeah, of course. But it was still, again, the aggression from vertical has worked out the majority of these rounds. And even though it didn't last, they're back on the top floor. So
TSM should be better prepared for it this time, though.
They certainly should. Yeah, I mean, you would imagine.
We say should as if they might just walk right into his bullets again.
Maybe. I mean, one thing I have noticed actually about this map and this top floor especially is that drones are fleeting. Yeah. On this particular site for whatever reason.
Without Mozzie.
When you're trying to gather information on the exact location of your opponents, it can be very difficult as an attacker for some reason upstairs on Kafe. So gathering that info can sometimes be really difficult, and holding out an aggressive push from someone like Vertical is more difficult. Slash, beautiful shot there on to Merc. He's just playing his angles, and he knows he can win those fights. That's Slash just being above and beyond right now. He's going to take down Crusher inside of Piano. He has taken some damage from Achieved, though. Not a finished kill. And every second that Slash spends there, he's going to be delaying things. He will be secured by Bolo, but it was the down there from Achieved, from Piano, that allowed that kill to come out. Good teamwork for TSM. Only 50 seconds left for them to execute, though.
Big problem, though, is Slash being dead means some of that hold is going to be disabled a little bit, but because they've rotated so that Easley's helping cover it and Vertical's got a flank, I think they'll be able to do okay.
The big thing here, I think, for TSM is that they do have one player on Cocktail, Balcony, Repel, which could be a huge factor. I believe that is Bio, though I'm not 100% sure. And he could flank these defenders in Cocktail if they're not aware of his position.
Or at least distract them.
Lots of marks coming out here in the dying seconds. It's going to be a rush in through the main bar door, and that's going to be 2 easy frags for Eclipse, and here comes the Cocktail Repel. It'll be shut down by Easily. Rogue aware and ready. They will win yet another top floor defense.
Definitely seeming like we're not seeing TSM figuring out any of their weaknesses. The only real good kill they got there was killing Slash, but that was after he'd already gotten to and done so much damage to them. Slash just absolutely playing perfectly with that long range, and that, of course, is why we always are worried about Maestro having an ACOG.
You know, the really odd thing is that I'm surprised that Slash wasn't punished much sooner. That's what's blowing my mind. It's
the suppression that you get from that. You know, the fear factor, right? Because he can pump out so many bullets. It's an LMG. He can continue to pre-fire it. It just becomes tricky to peek him.
I think it just comes down to Slash was landing his shots.
He
was playing in a really bad spot.
Yeah.
Like, there's not a lot of cover there. You're stranded. If anyone spots you on the attack, you basically you're a dead man. And he turned that into 2 kills. 2 kills that I would argue that he shouldn't have been able to get. Maybe the first one, sure. The second one, definitely not.
No, I'd agree with you there for sure. He shouldn't have been able to get 2 for 1 there, just because he should have been he should have been forced back to his position.
And that puts TSM on the back foot for the whole round. But another thing, that aside, the early picks aside, TSM haven't really looked like they have the appropriate tools to actually execute onto this site.
They almost look like they're just trying to get some more of the frags, really, just push people out of places.
That's exactly it. It looks like they're trying to take angles, win fights, and you really can't rely on that. I mean, they're not even opening up Freezer, I think, most of the time. Yeah. So that should be definitely on the checklist for TSM. Open up Freezer wall so you can deny one of the easy crossfires for your defenders.
I could see why Rogue banned Capitao, though, just because, trying to get people out of position is what TSM's struggling with. And that's definitely something that would help a lot with that.
It certainly would, yeah, if it were available. So I guess some good awareness there from Rogue.
Yeah.
But yeah, some hard destruction on the appropriate places on the top floor would also be useful. Now, it is going to be a middle floor defense once again. This is the same sort of rotation that Rogue gave us the first time around. The difference being, of course, is that, well, I mean, there isn't actually any difference. I don't know why I said that.
Yeah, we'll see.
I was about to say
Vertical's still super accurate.
I was about to say they're doing it exactly the same. That was actually the point I was trying to make.
I think you were hoping for a difference.
I think, yeah, my brain was like, there's got to be something different going on here, right?
Got to be. They've lost this over every time.
No,
you know.
the execution and the hold is pretty much the same. It's a hold of the top floor to try and stall things out. The question is, will TSM be able to actually deal with these top floor roamers? Because last time, Rogue just held this firm.
Well, it's the thing, too, is you've got Eclipse calling them out. They know when to peek. They know when people are in the right positions. It's a matter of winning their gunfights. I mean,
information on these long angles is paramount.
Absolutely. And you see Eclipse there doing exactly that, calling them out, staying safe inside the train. So it's just a matter of peeking the right time. Vertical's not going to have the ACOG, but he's still a little bit closer anyways.
And here's the thing about that information. Again, it's really hard to get your drones in the right position on this site. And it's because there's so much open space between your drones and the information you're trying to gather, and it allows for really easy dispatch from the defenders. It'll be a trade early on here, but TSM starts to put it into their favor as Crusher takes down Vertical. And C4 from below from Eclipse, and it misses. A huge blunder there from Eclipse, and it'll cost Rogue in the long run. So now they have lost the man advantage and cannot bring it back in the immediate. Slashshot goes for a feigned rotation and goes over to White Stairs, though, to try and continue to apply pressure to this top floor. Interesting that he should decide to do that, but he's feeling the pressure from Cocktail and doesn't want to fight that angle, so he'll fall back. TSM, lo and behold, there is a difference in this round. They have managed to take control of the top floor, and in a pretty standard lead there, up 4-3.
They also have a lot of their floor destruction capabilities because they have the breach charges you saw from the Zofia, and they still have the sledge here. So it's going to be a lot of top floor pressure, and it's just going to be up to call-outs from Eclipse as well as just a lot of pre-fires to try and stop it. He's actually busy fighting Cocktail.
That's going to be an easy kill there from Achieved using the drop down. Gas canisters come out from easily as there's very little time for him left to delay using those canisters. He just needs to hold on to the reading room, but that does mean the other side is left unguarded because Eclipse is over by pillars, though he will get the diffuser down. That's a huge advantage for Rogue. They're not in the advantage yet overall, but they still could win this. Merc is going to take down easily in sight. It's just Eclipse. He gets another one for himself. He's going to have to at least 4K to win this if he wants to not win on time. It's going to be a down on Zofia. This is looking actually very winnable. It's on 0-0-0. Eclipse with a 1 versus 4.
Oh, boy.
A beautiful round. And the time really being the true enemy of TSM.
Spent so much time talking about his heartbeat sensor when really it should have been the focus on that ump.
Yeah, a really great round there from Eclipse. Beautiful clutch. Perfect positioning. The thing is, he shouldn't have been allowed to do that. And it just came down to poor information gathering from TSM in the last seconds. I'm really surprised that he was allowed to do that.
They seemed unaware. You saw the sledge, for example, with his back to where Eclipse just was. They didn't have any information on how he was playing or where he was playing. And that's just a huge misstep of that part to just rush it.
You may have noticed that I still was, at the end of that round, I still didn't expect Eclipse to be able to clutch it out. And the reason being is...
They should have easily shut him down by just pre-firing even.
After he kills the sledge, that information immediately should have gotten relayed to the rest of the players, and there should have been no world in which Eclipse wins that.
And the ump isn't the strongest gun to be going around firing everyone. Not to mention he didn't have a chance to reload. It's just...
I mean, he landed his shots, man.
Absolutely. He is very good at that, though.
Yeah, Eclipse has been landing his shots. You can see he's got 9 kills. He's just towering above everybody else right now. He's been having a really good one. But yeah, certainly a beautiful clutch there from Eclipse. And, geez, one that... you could say TSM really dropped the ball on that one.
It's going to make you wonder, too, though, after all those lost rounds and then being close to actually pulling one off, to lose that as well, that's got to be a little bit frustrating for the team and got to make them psychologically on a little bit worse footing.
That definitely was one of the best rounds we've seen from TSM, of course, apart from the one where they managed to actually take a win.
Which could be
on the KitchenAid.
A repeat here.
Yeah, they could get a repeat here, and the half 4-2. That's not bad for Kafe. It's not bad.
Oh.
You know, it's not great, but it's not bad. 3-3 would be good if you're TSM. But anyway, as I was saying, yeah, and it definitely is demoralizing when you lose a round when you're up so high and you're looking to be you're in control. It's
where you start getting mad at your teammates sometimes too for making those misplays. Like, we had man advantage. Why did you do X? You know.
I don't think that. Yeah, no, not at this level. I can't imagine.
I hope not.
Something is going on in their comms. That would be crazy.
Yeah.
Vertical getting away with murder on these rotations. Seriously, how is he not being punished? He's playing behind this bakery counter, and this is a dangerous position to be sure, but it could potentially waste a lot of TSM's time. And that is, of course, the name of the game here for Vertical. How much time can I waste?
Yep.
That Castle Barricade being destroyed is certainly not going to be great, but it won't be detrimental to the way that Vertical is playing. Slash will take down Biologic, so punishment coming out here from Rogue onto TSM for trying to challenge this Jaeger.
I noticed Slash is getting a little more aggressive with his peaks, also to kind of help out Vertical here. Last time Vertical did get hit from behind, which was a big problem. Bolo was in position to do that, to try and do it again, but Slash actually helping out, putting additional pressure on the door with a second one as well, is really doing a lot here. He might die doing this, but even if he does, he's doing so much work to suppress them and give Vertical positioning.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Now Vertical has an angle. He's going to challenge just because he knows there's less barrels looking his direction, and it's going to be a kill for Vertical onto Achieved. Achieved has been having a bad one so far, and it's getting worse round by round. This is looking like a 5-1. Oh, what an angle for Slash. He's going to land the shot. He might have just barely missed, and that's really unfortunate for him, but he's been really gunning on this door, and I don't think that anyone from TSM is ready to shut him down just yet. The challenge coming out from Bolo, if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be him. That's what he's known for, being able to win those fights, but not going to be the case. Eclipse gets the last 2 kills on a rotation there. A flawless round from Rogue, and a 5-1 in the first half.
And not a single member of TSM made it into the building.
You know, I did come into this match today expecting it to be probably one of the slowest of the day.
Still a possibility that we
still
just
a possibility of that, yeah. I mean, that's the thing, is it could still happen. Second half here, defense now for TSM, that's a huge advantage. But I'm not seeing it. The way that TSM were playing, it's not just Kafe.
Yeah.
There's clearly a lack of coordination going on here for TSM. Something's tripping them up. And, you know, we've all been there. We have all been there. You ever been on a team where it's just things are not working out? Everyone's confusing each other, and every time you make a basic call, you can't get past the first hurdle.
Sometimes it snowballs.
Yeah, it does snowball too. And it definitely seems like right now TSM are in that mind space where, okay, we just aren't able to get past the first hurdle. What do we do?
Yeah.
It almost seems like TSM are trying to think 3 steps ahead when they haven't gotten past the first step, and that is it's hard to watch really. But that doesn't mean that they're done for the match.
Yeah. Maybe they just didn't deal with this level of aggro in their scrims that they were practicing these pushes on. Yeah. That's coming out from Slash and Vertical, and so they just are a little unprepared for it. And then maybe the bans as well took away some of the utility that they were planning to use for it, meaning Capitao.
Maybe it could be that. And this is another thing. It's very important to note is that even if your team is lacking in coordination, when you go onto defense, it just isn't as relevant.
Yeah. Like communication trumps coordination at the end of the day, because that's where you get the coordination from.
Whether it's one or the other is beside the point. I mean, if it's coordination or communication, whatever's the problem for TSM, we can't know because we can't hear their comms.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But either which way about it, now that TSM are on defense, they don't need to worry about it nearly as much.
Now they can have a few drinks at the bar there.
Well, I mean, there's a really big bar, so
yeah,
there's a lot of alcohol.
I gotta imagine they've got some good stuff in there. And this being Russia, of course. Interesting, though, that now that the sides have switched, we're getting both of the Outback operators. We've got both the Mozzie and the Gridlock there.
I don't see any vodka on that shelf. Do you?
You know, maybe it's just labeled differently.
Maybe it's the bottles are colored.
Yeah, they almost look like all just Jaeger, appropriately enough.
Well, this top 4 defense is light on the piano hold. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, definitely different than the way that Vertical was playing it. They're going to play a little bit differently, but they also have a Mozzie, so they might be looking to try and trap some of those drones that are pushing into them. He's actually playing down here now. He's got the C4, so if we're peeking up, he could C4 lobby up there.
It's an extremely common position that you're seeing the Mozzie playing. Merc is going to be taken out there. Looks like maybe that was the piano presence and it's gone. Didn't see where the kill happened, but definitely a really good early pick there for Rogue. And when you're in a position like the one TSM currently finds themselves in, every single kill what you get early like that is going to be really, really heavy on your morale.
Yeah, absolutely, especially when you're trying to do pretty much what we saw Rogue doing and then it's not working for you.
I mean, if it doesn't work, I mean, it's still early days, but yeah. Even those initial losses can be really, really devastating. Achieved is in a pretty common position downstairs, like we talked about with the Mozzie. He could still inflict some damage on this attack from Rogue. As soon as anyone starts pressuring that second drop down there, that's more exposed to the defense. I'm sure there will be a C4 from below.
Yeah.
Wait and see.
Difference as well is they've brought the gridlock. Ooh, nice kill there onto Easily. That's going to help a little bit taking out the Thermite, but I don't think that's a big deal at this point. But the difference here is Eclipse bringing the gridlock means a lot of those rotations may be shut down as well. So once they get control of a lot of these areas, they're going to be able to hold on to them, I think, a lot better and stop any potential flanks coming up on them. So as long as they can continue at a decent pace, but Slash punishes Crusher, and that is the Maestro down. Of course, Slash killing his own operator, so to speak, in that sense.
Yeah, he was doing great on that Maestro last round, but now here on attack, it's really Rogue taking full control. As Shuttle just gets a two-piece in sight. I mean, this is almost... I mean, it's going to have to be an ace from Achieved. There's no way...
Yeah.
There's no way that Rogue is going to lose it on time. He's going to have to force this ace, and it's not going to happen. Shuttle gets his third kill of the round and the final one at that. And Rogue look absolutely unstoppable right now.
So, absolutely, Rogue just doing what Rogue we were expecting Rogue to do in previous matches, really. But they seem very in control of this map. This is very well prepped, it seems.
The community vote was 64% to Rogue, right? Wink,
yeah.
wink.
Revisionist. George Lucas over here.
Hindsight 2020, guys.
Right.
I mean, it is really just who you want to win.
Absolutely, and that's the thing is obviously it's not a bet. It's just a fan favorite.
I expect this team to win because I would like them.
Yeah.
And it's sensible. I mean, I understand. Again, I'm sitting back right now. I'm thinking about what we've got here in this match, and again, it really just to me is coming down to pure experience. You look at Rogue and these players.
Even on Kafe, especially,
Well, yeah, sure. Yeah, I remember playing Kafe with Slash. So
yeah, this is
way back if you want to do that.
Well, they've been playing it since season 1.
Yep.
So there is that Eclipse, though.
And TSM, a lot of these players have been playing since the beginning, too, but definitely not at the same level.
No, definitely not at the same level. Obviously, Bolo couldn't have been.
It's too young.
Yeah.
It was a shame.
It is definitely.
But bright future ahead.
Absolutely. This is still the 4th play day out of 14. They have 10 more after this, even if this doesn't go their way. They still absolutely could bring this back, but they're on match point now, so they don't get any extra chances. It's this round or it's bust.
Yeah, there's of course not going to be any potential 3 points here for TSM. At this point, they're just fighting, I think, if nothing else, than for pride. And
for Rogue to get another draw.
And to slow down Rogue. Yeah, that's the big one. Just let's slow down Rogue.
That's the thing is Rogue, I think, is just above them in the leaderboard, too. So they definitely want to leapfrog them if they possibly can.
Yeah, actually, Rogue is currently sitting 1 whole point above TSM.
So a tie wouldn't really change that, I suppose, though.
I mean, it would be 2 whole points instead of 1. But if Rogue manages to win this, they'll be at 5, and TSM will be at 1. So,
yeah, that won't be great for TSM. Again,
I mean, the way that it's been looking, I just don't see a draw happening right now.
No,
I'm not seeing a draw. I mean, the fact that TSM couldn't win. Sure, okay, maybe they win their cocktail defense right now. Maybe they managed to kick that top floor, but it is definitely the preferred site, if not the best site on this map for most teams, and it clearly is for both.
It's not like they went kitchen first round or anything.
Right. So no matter what happens, the way I'm looking at this right this second is, okay, TSM, they win top floor this round, then they go to middle floor, maybe they take that too, but then they have to go to the kitchen.
Yeah.
Or hey, I don't know. They could do the full top floor defense by running the 2 middle sides.
It's good to see the Mozzie doing a little bit to slow down this droning, but in such a big open area like that, you can't stop Slash's drone, and that's a bit of a mistake there.
Almost a cut-off rotation there from Slash. He was really going for it, but he's not going to be able to get it.
Yeah, a little bathroom break there for the Jaeger.
He will be playing inside a bathroom, still holding on to Pixel Spot, as it's called, but he's not going to be able to aggress as easily because the angle's more predictable. Oh, the timing from Slash. That's terrible. Eclipse going to take down Achieve, though. A very long angle there. I believe he was still on top of that forklift, but I'm not actually sure. Why did I say forklift? Scissor lift. Wow. Man, I feel ignorant right now.
Still a lift.
It is a lift. Now, losing the Mozzie early on. That's a huge blow, as he is not going to be able to hack any more of those drones. Well, I mean, he could post-mortem, but they won't be useful, and that they're going to be stationary.
Slight denial at that point.
Yeah, technically. I mean, that's one of the big things that he brings to the table. But also the C4 being lost, pretty substantial, because that's your vertical denial. Gone.
Especially when you're at a man disadvantage, that can be where you can take out multiple players.
Yeah. So, no explosives like that on TSM any longer. They do have some Evil Eyes and some gas canisters to deny, though.
Well, Bulletproof Cameron, a nice spot there. Actually gets a nice call-out. Slash, or not Slash, but Shuttle taking a bit of damage because of it.
Slash is getting the worst timing today. He could have gotten that kill right there, but he had his lifeline out.
A little over-eager. finally that camera goes down, so now that they can actually properly control Christmas.
So this is the checklist that we were talking about from TSM that we needed to see. Opening up Freezer. Now that it's open, you can deny the Freezer play to TSM, which allows you as an attacker a lot of freedom and a lot more crossfires.
You're not just fighting over the bar the whole time.
And look at those drones from Rogue. They're deep in sight. They're calling out the location of these players. But here's the tricky bit. Only 14 seconds left, so it's going to have to be a rush from Rogue. They're going for it. Crusher's going to make them hurt in the process, though Vertical will shut him down by a logic, and it's just an absolute flurry of kills here, leaving just Eclipse. It looks like TSM are going to be able to take Cocktail finally. A great crossfire setup, a 1 versus 1, but not enough time. Maybe if there were a few more seconds, Eclipse could have taken it, but not so. TSM win on time and managing to just barely stay alive with one person by Cocktail.
Yeah. And that was the real problem there, was how long it took them to really fully control Christmas. You saw just fighting all the fights down White Hallway as well, trying to take care of the Jaeger when Slash was trying to fire at him. That whole time that they spent trying to take that was time away from their push, because they couldn't safely open up the freezer until they had control of that room. The longer it took them to do that, the longer it would be before they were able to actually start a push through that freezer and take control of it. So you saw them kind of scrambling a little bit towards the end because of that. But also, Crusher getting some good shots kind of slowed them down quite a bit. And I think that's a big factor as well, of course, is anything you can do to slow them down is going to make a difference, because winning on time there, I think, was what they needed to do, because I feel like Eclipse could have clutched that out yet again had he had a chance to get the kills instead. Eclipse there at 14. So I think that's kind of proof right there. That's a strong possibility for him to pull that off. Slash doing pretty well at 8 as well, but it's funny because, so I was talking about this to some other people before, is I feel like the strong fraggers on the team originally were Vert and Shuttle. Yet somehow Slash and Eclipse have really taken over that role for a while.
Here's the thing, Devin. Here's the thing, man. I remember before Pro League even started, when I first played against Eclipse, this was a solid 2 months or something like that before Pro League started.
Yeah.
And it was, he hit the nuttiest shot on me, and I still remember. It's one of the few kills that somebody landed on me that I remember to this day.
Oh yeah.
He was playing Church Hallway outside of Church Hallway on the on the far side of that basement clubhouse wall. And he was looking through a prone hole. I was peeking from Arsenal door into the hallway over the top of shield, and he one-taps me with a hollow on Jaeger. Yeah. I'm just sitting there thinking, wow, he's insane. I barely peeked for half a second. And he's been one of the top tier fraggers in North America since the very beginning.
Yeah, but he had a slow season for a while. Like a couple seasons, he was just it wasn't hitting as much.
Yeah, sometimes. So I mean, I think we all have that. I think it's safe to say that. Okay, think about remember when everyone was giving flack to MVK like 2 seasons ago?
Yeah, he was having just a little bit
last
slower
season. Last season he was doing great, and even actually, during the end of that season he was doing great statistically. And he's, again, MVK, he's one of those old school fraggers. He's been around since the beginning, and he's been one of the top fraggers in NA for a long time.
You just got to slow down because they took away Jaeger's ACOG.
No, but yeah, no, I think it's safe to say that, the experience, the veteran nature of Rogue is really shining through right now. And TSM, again, they've got it, but I think their communication is really what's... we can't know.
Like you said about the droning as well, the coordination there was just much better in that round, for example.
Yeah. Anyway, we can't know what the problem is because we can't hear their comms, but we can guess. That C4 from below there is not going to land. That's probably achieved, as no one else can really have one. It's going to cost, again, TSM in the long run. Potentially could swing things heavily in their favor. They're going for a top floor roam, a heavy top floor roam. Same thing as what we saw from Rogue. Some missed reinforcements are going to allow Shuttle great maneuverability here by the bathroom. Whenever he wants, he can pop into Freezer. But he's waiting for one of his teammates to drone Freezer out to call that so that he'll be able to, get some frags with more authority. To be vertical inside of Freezer actually already to allow that rotation to happen. Evil Eye called out, but it's not active. Slash shooting through the wall there, but he's actually Shuttle, pardon me, and he'll be shut down. Vertical gonna get, 1, but not 2. That's a great kill there from Merc, holding on to that top floor. TSM, through that flurry of kills, managed to keep the advantage, just 1 man up. Now, Rogue have dropped the diffuser. They do have 40 seconds, though.
Again, it's loss of control of that Christmas area that's really struggling for them. And even though this bomb site isn't upstairs, a lot was committed to defending that top floor. Like you said, very heavy top floor roam. And it's really costing them, especially the way Merc's been playing that angle on the cocktail balcony side. he's just been destroying them. He's already gotten 2-3 kills from that side. Eclipse again in the clutch position, though, to try and fight as many as he can. And they've already lost drones even to Mozzie.
Yeah, in a clutch position, but he is playing on 3 armor, full HP, so this is, I would say winnable if more for the 13 seconds. Nice headshot there on a Merc, but it's going to be achieved to finish him off through the wall there. Beautiful job from TSM, specifically Merc, holding onto that top floor. Merc really ran away with that round. He managed to get the initial kill on the entry from the offense, denying that push in through main bar, and then following that up, just fragging out, just holding on to that top floor. TSM really do owe him for that round.
Yeah, they didn't seem to be able to anticipate the angles that he was going to be playing a lot of the time. It was similar to what Slash was getting away with to an extent from that side, but he's playing without the ACOG. He's just hitting his shots, and of course that's what Merc is good at. He's very strong at that. But unfortunately, winning those 2 sites and making their comeback happen lands them in the kitchen. So you know what they say about the kitchen, out of the frying pan into the fire here.
So to speak, yeah. But it's not the end of the world. There is definitely a whole heck of a lot of, I want to say comeback potential, but you can't like win. So I don't really know if that's a thing. There's a lot of draw potential here.
It's true, yeah. It's still a comeback at that point. Eclipse, though.
Is it though?
It's a comeback to a draw. Not a comeback to a win.
I don't know. I suppose. I don't know if it counts if you're drawing. Yeah, yeah, Eclipse is having a day.
Yeah. Certainly Slash picking up quite a bit as well. I feel like the rest of the team is going to get bored.
I mean, yeah, they haven't been coming into many actual engagements, it seems.
Vertical at least was, trying to get as many as he could there, but
in the early rounds, yeah, the vertical aggression on defense was certainly it's tripping up TSM very slightly, but I think honestly, I think it's something TSM are going to be used to playing against. So
yeah, this is definitely a little bit of a warm-up days for them as they try and get comfortable with that.
On the note of warm-up, I mean, again, that's what we've been talking about pretty much. Oh, this angle could potentially get... No, just barely.
Not quite.
Enough cover there for a crouched player. That's good. It's good if you're TSM. Anyway, yeah, speaking of warm-up, again, TSM, more recent roster changes, that is something that is going to take them some time to get through.
Well, I mean, this is as good as any, right? Test to be able to do that, especially on a map like this. And they do finally at least have the defensive side, so they have some ability to take advantage of this. You got to imagine, though, they're going to be droning that position because, of course, that's the same position that Vertical was playing previously. Different operator playing it this time, but still, it is a hard position to get out, and that's why Vertical was playing it. You see the difficulty they're going to have. They're going to wish they had Capitao right now as well to be able to take him out.
Man, if you told me in 2018 people would be defending Kafe Bakery from the bakery, like from that little half wall, no. It's just, it was such a dangerous position, and it's still dangerous, but it's made much more viable by the fact that you've got that extension on the wall, and there's one less window there, so the angles are much more limited on this position.
You got that mini bakery as well.
Easily has to go up, really out of his way to get the angle onto the smoke, and Bio's going to really make this push. I mean, he's slowing it down really well with this gas canister.
Yeah, a minute and a half, they're still outside.
Yeah. This is great plays from Biologic so far, and he's playing this solo. That's important to remember. It's just Biologic. A wasted lifeline there from Slash. Unfortunate. He didn't check before he fired. Getting a little ahead of himself. That might be a sign of panic, but it's going to be a fallback here from Bio. He will be executed by Shuttle. That's good timing from Rogue. It's just going to be control of Bakery, though. They still need to get their way into the site. You see the Jaeger there. That's Merc on red stairs. Could potentially be a free pick for Rogue as well. His position is definitely not easy to hold. You see Vertical waiting for a potential frag there onto the Maestro.
Yeah, you just saw the backpack, which he cannot shoot.
Not a hitbox.
No, there's good patience on his part, though, not taking the shot.
Not giving away the angle.
Yeah.
Right way to do it. You see Slash going to take some damage there and be finished off by Achieved elsewhere. Good job to Achieve getting some kills with Castle. Definitely not considered a fragging operator, but he makes it work. And the contributions elsewhere are even more important. Now, easily playing the long angles that he's just opened up, and Vertical finally going to secure the kill onto Bolo using that angle he held on to earlier. Easily a nice shot there, and he's looking for more. He's actually successfully cut off rotation, whether he knows it or not, to these last two defensive operators. He'll call that rotation out. Merc on low HP as he crosses through that breach. Easily just needs to hold this angle. He may be able to get the kill onto the Jaeger. He's going to go for the plant. This is default spot. Here come the Stringers, or Cracks Stingers. Achieved, though, another kill. That's 2 for him in the round. Vertical needs to deny now. And it's going to be Vertical and Shuttle on these 2 angles to hold the rotation for the last defenders. Merc still at it, though. He'll get his first kill. He's got to find 2 more. Full HP defenders against a half HP Jaeger. Or rather, pardon me, full HP attackers. With that LE5 vertical in a sneaky spot, will secure the last kill and the final round. Rogue will take match number 1 of today, 7-3.
Well played by Rogue. They definitely seemed, as you said, a lot more in control in terms of their coordination and things like that. That makes a huge difference, especially when we saw a lot of situations where defenders were playing a lot of smart angles and a lot of positions that were hard to get people out of. That seemed to be especially strong for Rogue. They were really good at doing that upstairs in terms of just making it really hard to get them out of positions. We saw the same thing attempted from TSM, and it did get them all the way down to the bakery. But once they were there, only so many angles you could play, and Rogue seemed to know a lot of the smart angles as well. It just took them a while to get inside the bakery itself, and I think that was the big struggle, right? As they started running a bit low on time, and as you said, Slash looking a little bit rushed because of that, costing them a slight bit of utility, but they did manage to find a lot of good angles after that, and cutting off those rotations made a huge difference. So, patience paying off, just you only get so much time around.
The astute among you, or rather the hawk-eyed among you, may have noticed that at the end of that match, TSM were all gone as soon as possible. Those disconnect icons were, bam, right there. Rogue, not so. And what that does mean is just a little bit, it's getting in the heads of TSM. You can kind of tell just by their demeanor on the end of the match. I mean, it's little things, but it's things that you notice as a player.
Yeah.
You know, as you play, you'll start to pick up on that sort of stuff. And I wonder what's going through their heads right now, because it's a 7-3 result against Rogue, who are a team who haven't had a great record so far. Again, as you stated, 1 point ahead of TSM through the beginning of the season. Now they're sitting at 5 points after that win. And I'm really, really worried for TSM in that I think pressure might be mounting.
Yeah.
It's not good.
There's obviously a lot of pressure on Bolo just because of his status as well, and that's not going to help.
I do feel bad for Bolo. Can I just say that? Like, I do feel really bad for Bolo. Like, as much as it's great, coming into Pro League, I'm really happy for him. I think it's on that note, I think it's great that he's finally there.
Yeah.
It took a long time just because he had to wait, but he's finally here. He's got what it takes to play in Pro League. I think a lot of people misinterpret what Pro League is. Like, there's this really big misconception that you could just, like, be amazing, come into Pro League and just tear everyone apart.
Especially
like
ranked stars, right?
Well, maybe not. Not exactly what I'm talking about, but like, it takes a long time, a lot of work, and a lot of knowledge and a lot of patience to become a player that you really can just you can have those amazing moments in Pro League, because you have to remember literally everybody who plays in Pro League is like among the best players in the world. Not every single one of them. So it's maybe it's varied, sure, but every single one of them are among the best players in the world. So it's important to note that.
Yeah.
You're not going to come in like a wrecking ball and absolutely destroy everything as a player. And
if you can even do average, that's an accomplishment.
The reason I feel bad for him is because people put that pressure on him, and by him I mean Bolo. But I think we have an interview.
All right.
With the winners, Rogue.
Ooh. Who's it going to be? Well, hello there, Tristan.
You guys surprised?
I'll be honest, a little bit actually, just because there was a little bit of struggle at the beginning of the season. You guys also had a little bit of struggle last season as well. This game right here, you guys obviously didn't seem to be struggling at all. Has anything changed, or was a little bit more favorable of a matchup for you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously we're happy. We're very happy to have Kafe back in the map pool. It's a long-time staple, long-time favorite of ours. So we're exhilarated about that. But I think we realized that like the game, like strategically, is kind of like at an all-time low right now. It's just too easy. Like, guns are so strong right now, it's just too easy to fight people, and we're taking like too strategic of an approach. So yesterday we worked really hard on just kind of loosening things up, being more aggressive, and I think that paid off today.
Yeah. So going back then to Monday, you guys were playing very passive, and it didn't seem to be working out for you guys. Is that then kind of the shift you saw? Like, well, we need to be able to take some aggro, some passive, mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we have like 5 of the best players in North America, so like there's no reason we shouldn't be more aggressive if that's the meta that the game favors. Like, teams like Listream, they're super aggressive, like nonstop, and I think that's something we were missing out on, and so that's something we added in, and I think we're seeing early results so far. Yeah,
it definitely seemed to work out for Vertical, Eclipse, and Slash, and definitely something that I think you guys can play off of, obviously, especially if the maps happen to be favored and the BAMs work your way. But speaking of the ops and things like that, you guys play a fair bit of gridlock, especially Eclipse playing on that. Is that something you guys are finding very useful, or you're just still trying to feel out where it's working?
I think it's just like generally a flexible operator. Like, it has a shotgun, so you can make a hole in a pinch, stuff like that. Its guns are decent. Like the F90 is pretty solid. It can sort of like give you some information on flank, not really anywhere near as strong as Nomad. I think for like hard flank watch, like I would always prefer Nomad, but it also comes with smokes. So it's just like a flexible operator, and we just like, it's like, hey, well, we'll just take this flex spot and fill it in.
Well, it seems to be working out for you guys. Obviously, we don't always see whether or not you're cutting off rotations and things like that, but it definitely seems like Eclipse is doing fine with it regardless of whether or not the utility is working. So kudos to you guys in picking up a new operator and kind of making it your own. Speaking of the new Kafe, are you guys finding that there's a lot of new angles to learn and things like that you guys are taking advantage of, or is it kind of just an enhanced version of the same old?
Yeah, the addition of like the 2 new balconies on the top floor means that there's a lot more space and a lot more like long angles of sight. I think you saw on our defenses, Spencer Slash was playing Maestro a lot, and so he was like swinging out onto, we call it heaven, but the new balcony that's on the cocktail side, he would swing out there and then fight like all the way across to the other balcony. He'd fight the cigar door, just like a lot more angles to a lot more options you can fight from. So you can't do like what we would do on the old Kafe where you just like smoke everything and just sprint out bar and take the fights. So it's definitely changed up, like freed up the top floor a lot. And like as a whole, there's a lot of long angles on the map that are really interesting.
Cool. Well, I think it definitely worked out for you guys this time. Obviously, you can't play it again next play day, so you're going to have to take advantage of a different map. But either way, yeah, good on you guys, though, in finally pulling out of what was not looking like the greatest start. Obviously, draws aren't that bad. It means you're kind of 1 round away from taking the win. But, after, last play day's loss, this is definitely got to be, I imagine, a boost for the team in terms of you guys, I got to imagine you're holding yourselves to a pretty high standard at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like for us, it's top 2 or nothing. So, stuff had to be changed, and we had to, get a little bit more aggressive and give ourselves some more playmaking opportunity. And so we did that, and it's working so far. And we'll see how that continues to work throughout the next couple of games. And if there's further adjustments have to be made, we'll make them. We're going to do whatever it takes to finish top 2.
Well, is there anything you want to say to the Rogue fans out there, especially the doubters who might be switching over as well after that community vote?
Yeah, I mean, Kafe's back in the map pool. Like, nothing can go wrong for us now. In all seriousness, thanks to everyone who stuck with us through like the poor season we had last season, and sort of rough start, I guess. Two ties is, we wanted wins there, but obviously we executed really poorly in the game against Dark Zero, and we hope to do better on that, and I think this is a better look for us going forward.
Well, congratulations again on your win, and thank you for the interview. It was great talking with you again, and look forward to you guys next week on your... Actually, no, sorry, not next week, because we have a break for Valencia, but after that, we'll see you guys again.
Yeah, we'll see us at Valencia. So,
there you go.
Tune in there to see more Go Rogue stuff.
All right, cool. Thank you, and good night.
You guys have a good one.